Welcome to our deep dive on screenwriting.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're diving into Blake Snyder's Save the Cat.
The last book on screenwriting you'll ever need.
You got it!
Yeah.
We've got excerpts and images straight from the book, so...
Straight from the source.
And today, we're gonna see if his famous approach...
Which he claims works for any film.
...really holds up. So, ready to get into it?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, so Snyder doesn't hold back. Right away, he's talking about the log line.
Right.
Calling it the most important thing for any screenplay.
The make or break element, he says.
Is he exaggerating or what?
Well, he has a point. I mean, think about it. You're a producer. You've got like...
A mountain of scripts.
Yeah, like a stack of scripts a mile high. What's the first thing that grabs your attention?
Yeah.
It's that one-liner that sums up the movie. Like it's...
Like the core, the DNA.
The DNA, yeah, exactly like Snyder says.
He really means one-liner, too. He says if you can't sum it up in, like...
A couple sentences.
You don't even know what you're writing about.
Yeah, he's all about efficiency.
Yeah.
And there's a formula to this, too. You need irony.
Like hook him in.
Yeah, like something that subverts your expectations. And a strong mental picture.
Ah, so they can practically...
You see the movie poster.
You see it.
Yeah.
So it's more than a plot summary. It's like...
You're selling the whole vibe.
Not a vibe, yeah.
And you got to think about the audience and cost. The log line should hint at who the movie is for.
How much it costs.
Exactly. How much it'll set you back.
It kind of feels like if you just nail the log line, then...
The story writes itself.
Yeah, like, is it that easy? Did his examples in the book make you feel like that?
Some of them, for sure. Like
Yeah.
the one for Pretty Woman. He says,
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
a cop comes to L.A. to visit his estranged wife and family,
Okay.
but business falls in love with a hooker he hires to be his date for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Pure rom-com gold.
It's so perfect. You instantly see, like...
Julia Roberts on Rodeo Drive.
Yes. The
Yeah.
shopping bags. It's just perfect.
And that title, Pretty Woman,
It's so simple.
it just captures the tone, the genre.
Immediately. I like the ride-along one, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's, a risk-averse employee goes to a company retreat
Boy.
and soon must act on top of his plan on marrying his dream girl.
Hmm.
But a first-year overachieving protective future brother-in-law accompanies him along the way.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but...
Yeah, it's long,
But you get it. You see the characters, you see the conflict, you see the comedy.
You see Ice Cube and Kevin Hart.
Bickering the whole time.
Yes. But beyond the examples, Snyder has this bigger idea. You know, his famous quote,
Right.
"Give me the same thing."
I mean, different.
I mean, what does that even mean?
Well, what he means is audiences want something familiar, but they also...
They want something new.
They want to be surprised. He says every successful movie is like
Like a twist on a classic.
yeah, a twist on a classic formula. He even breaks all movies down into 10 genres.
10. I feel like that's...
It's a lot, right?
It's limiting, yeah.
But he does a pretty good job. You got your monster in the house, like Jaws. You got your Golden Fleece adventures, like
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yep.
Yeah.
And then there's the dude with the problem, like
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Okay, so it's like those are the
building blocks.
the building blocks, and the only different part is where the
Creativity comes in.
the screenwriter's personal touch.
Exactly. Understand what the audience expects from that genre, and then,
Subvert it.
yeah, subvert it, put your own spin on it,
So you have to know the rules.
but also know when to break them.
But let's talk about heroes.
Okay, yeah.
Snyder says a compelling hero is someone we
Relate to,
that also
aspire to,
at the same time.
someone driven by those primal urges,
Hmm.
but still makes us care.
This is where that save the cat moment comes in, right?
Oh, yeah. It's legendary.
Yeah. So he's saying even if your hero is,
Flaw.
makes bad decisions, they need that one scene where they do something
Selfless. Purely selfless.
so we instantly like them.
Exactly. Think about Indiana Jones. He's a rogue archaeologist. Doesn't exactly follow the rules, but in the opening of Raiders, he risks his life to save his rival.
From that booby trap,
Right.
and suddenly we're rooting for him.
Even though he's stealing artifacts.
Even though he's totally a thief. It's so smart.
It's brilliant.
But once you have the log line, the genre, the hero...
How do you structure the whole thing?
Yeah, how do you actually write the screenplay? This is where the beat sheet comes in. Right?
Yes. His 15-point plan.
But isn't that too formulaic?
Well, it might seem that way, but it's more about like
The underlying
the rhythm.
Yeah, the rhythm of the story.
like a musical score. You have your intro, your rising action, your climax, your resolution.
So it's more like a roadmap.
A roadmap than a rule book.
Exactly. And it makes you think about those key moments, like the opening image that sets the tone, the catalyst that throws the hero's world off balance, and then the midpoint where the stakes are raised.
Yes. And then the all is lost moment.
Where everything seems,
Yes.
It's like a whole emotional roller coaster.
It is. And the midpoint, that's where screenwriters get,
Really passionate.
really passionate. Because it can be anything. It can be a false victory, a false defeat,
The twist.
a revelation, yeah. But it has to
Fit the story.
fundamentally change the direction.
It's like the hero's cruising along, and then...
Bam. Rug pulled out.
And they have to find a new way forward.
And that often leads to all is lost, the lowest point, facing
Impossible odds.
insurmountable obstacles.
Right.
But they have to find the strength to keep going,
It's like you have to hit rock bottom.
to bounce back higher.
But Snyder doesn't just talk about these concepts,
He gives you tools.
tools to use them.
Exactly. That's where the board comes in.
The board. Okay, tell me more.
Imagine like a giant cork board.
Okay.
Each scene in your script gets an index card,
Oh, huh?
and you literally pin them up on the board.
So you can move them around.
Yeah. You arrange them and rearrange them until the story flows.
You can visualize.
The whole arc.
Yeah, see the pacing issues.
See the gaps where you need more conflict, where a scene is redundant,
It's like
hands-on outlining.
with building blocks. I love that.
For visual people, yeah, it's great.
Really helps you get out of your head.
And see the story from a new angle.
Speaking of seeing things differently, we got to talk about the immutable laws of screenplay physics.
Oh, yes.
These are like,
Rules of thumb?
that can make or break a script.
And the most famous of all, of course,
Save the cat.
made it into the title of the book.
Exactly. We talked about how important it is to make your hero likable early on, but there are others, right?
So many others.
Okay, I'm ready. What else does he have?
Well, there's the Pope in the pool. It's about making exposition fun.
The Pope in the pool. Okay. I love it already.
It's about disguising info dumps,
So it doesn't get boring.
Yeah. You entertain while you inform, like the opening of Back to the Future.
Okay.
We learned all about Marty McFly, but through this hilarious sequence that shows his love for
The
music.
rebellious side.
Yeah. And his family drama.
Instead of just having someone explain it all.
Exactly. Show, don't tell. And then there's Langpipe.
Lame hype. I like that.
It's about avoiding too much exposition.
Oh.
Trusting the audience to put the pieces together.
Okay.
Like in Jaws,
Okay.
they don't explain why the shark is so big.
You just see the consequences.
Exactly. Sometimes silence is scarier than dialogue.
I'm realizing we've only just touched on these immutable laws.
We've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to Snyder's world,
So much more.
from crafting characters to that emotional arc.
But that's for next time.
A story for another time.
Exactly.
It's true. These immutable laws, they're more than just tricks.
Yeah, they're like,
Almost philosophical.
yeah, like Black Vet. It's about being unpredictable, but it's also like...
About how life is unpredictable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Snyder uses the example of Pulp Fiction and how that Black Vet character, who seems minor, has this unexpected connection to the plot.
Like anyone can be important.
Exactly. Everyone has a story.
And you never know.
Will have the biggest impact.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that unpredictability, that's where Watch Out for That Glacier comes in.
Oh, I love that one.
So visual, right?
Like, something's coming.
That dread.
Yeah, but you don't know what.
It's all about tension, keeping the audience engaged.
To no slow parts.
No meandering subplots, no pointless scenes.
Snyder would cut all that, right?
You'd be ruthless.
Yeah.
Every scene, every line has
With
to
your purpose.
drive the story forward,
He'd be a tough editor.
but a good one.
Definitely.
But back to those laws, there's one that's really about the heart of storytelling,
Okay.
the Covenant of the Ark.
Ooh, Covenant of the Ark.
That sounds,
important.
yeah. What's the covenant?
It's the promise that your hero,
They don't just go through events.
they grow.
They're transformed. Think about Luke Skywalker. He starts as a,
Whiny farm boy.
but by the end,
He's a Jedi Knight.
he's faced his fears, embraced his destiny,
It's the internal change that matters.
even more than the external goal.
So satisfying.
And to keep that transformation front and center, we have...
keep the press out.
Yes.
Yeah.
No distractions.
Those side stories taking us away from the main.
From the hero's journey,
Snyder would say,
focus.
don't try to do too much.
Stay true to the core.
It's like a minimalist painting.
Every brushstroke matters.
Yeah, I I like that.
And Snyder doesn't shy away from talking about
the mistakes
writers make. He has a whole chapter.
What's wrong with this picture?
Laying out the pitfalls.
Okay, let's hear them. I'm ready.
First up, proactive hero.
So they can't just be reacting.
They got to drive the story.
Big choices.
Take action.
No more passive characters.
We want heroes who are hungry for change.
Yes.
And they need someone to fight against.
Which brings us to
the villain.
The bad guy.
Not just evil for the sake of it. Give them motivation.
Maybe even a little humanity.
It's like that saying, every villain is the hero of their own story.
If we understand them, the conflict is
more intense, more meaningful.
And to keep that conflict engaging.
Turn.
Oh, another good one.
Escalating the stakes.
Raising the pace. Keeping us on the edge of our seats.
Like a roller coaster.
Each turn more intense.
You never know what's next.
Love it.
And speaking of intensity, there's the emotional color wheel.
Okay, emotional color wheel. What's that?
Making sure your story hits.
Oh, the emotion.
The full range. Don't just stick with sadness or joy.
Take us on a journey.
Make us laugh, cry, cheer, feel it all.
So it's authentic.
It resonates.
We connect on a deeper level.
Like when you read a book and forget.
Where you are.
You're transported.
Yes.
And to create that, you need characters who feel real.
And that starts with
dialogue.
Snyder hates
flat dialogue.
So no more cookie-cutter characters.
Everyone needs a unique voice.
Reflecting their personality.
Their background.
Makes them memorable.
Which brings us to...
blimp and an eye patch.
A memorable quirk.
A little something that makes them stand out.
A physical trait. A personality tick.
A limp, an eye patch.
A scar. A catchphrase.
The little details.
That make them real.
And to make sure those characters have motivations we understand.
We have... it is primal.
Okay, it is primal, explain.
It means every element of your story should tap into...
basic human desire.
Primal urges. Love, security, revenge.
Even just a good meal.
Make the characters relatable.
Even if the situation is crazy.
We need to see ourselves in them.
Connect with their struggles.
It's about that universal human experience.
It's what makes stories so powerful.
It connects us.
Helps us understand each other.
And ourselves.
It's almost like Snyder's giving us a guide to...
living a better life.
Not just writing a better screenplay.
He does say these principles apply to...
our own lives.
Think of your life as a story.
How can we make it more compelling? So even if we're not all screenwriters...
we can learn from Snyder...
about storytelling.
About captivating an audience.
Whether it's a Hollywood exec...
or your friends and family.
It's about that connection.
That spark of recognition.
Make us feel seen.
Well said. And speaking of connection, remember, Save the Cat.
Yeah.
All those movie examples.
What about our own lives?
What would our Save the Cat moments be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Those acts of kindness.
Moments of vulnerability.
That make us relatable.
What makes people like us?
That's a good question to think about.
The moments that shape us.
When we help someone else.
Those little acts of grace.
That make us who we are.
And they don't have to be huge.
Just helping with groceries.
Listening to a friend.
Those little things ripple outward.
Making a positive impact.
We all have the power to be heroes.
And I think that's a great transition.
To the final part.
Of our deep dive. It really makes you think about the impact we can have.
Yeah, even small actions.
And how Snyder's ideas about movies...
they can apply to our own lives.
like, we can use those same principles.
Structure, characters, emotion.
Just shape our own stories.
Because our lives are stories.
Yeah, unfold.
We have our own catalyst turning points.
Highs and lows.
And just like a movie.
It's those challenges that make us grow.
That shape who we become.
I'm seeing My Last Vacation in a whole new light now.
Oh, yeah.
That flat tire, the missed flight.
That was your all is lost moment.
Leading to a greater adventure.
Exactly. And by understanding those narrative arcs,
we find meaning in the chaos.
We're all the heroes of our own biopics.
With a killer soundtrack.
And a compelling logline, right?
Oh, speaking of loglines, remember how Snyder said sometimes the story changes?
To fit the logline.
Yeah. Could that apply to our lives too?
What if we rewrote our own loglines?
To highlight our strengths.
Our dreams.
Like taking control of the narrative.
Choosing what to focus on.
The themes, the events.
That matter to us.
It's like we're both the screenwriter.
And the main character.
Constantly revising the script.
That's what makes life exciting.
The improvisation.
The plot twists.
The happy endings we never saw coming.
Well, I think we've reached the end
of our deep dive into Save the Cat.
We've covered so much.
Log lines, genres, heroes.
Those immutable laws.
And how it all applies to more than just movies.
To life itself.
If you take away one thing,
it's that everyone has a story.
Worth telling.
So whether you're writing a screenplay
or just living your life,
remember those Save the Cat moments.
Honor your covenant of the Ark.
Keep those glaciers at bay.
And most importantly,
have fun.
Be creative. Break the rules.
Thanks for joining us
on this deep dive into storytelling.
Until next time.
Happy writing.